Good Lord, Jonah. God bless. Always gotta wait till I'm doing something. I need to go outside. Hey, y'all. Do your business so you can come in so I can do this. Go potty. Go potty. Hey. It's warm out today. Yeah, make sure when Anne's show gets started that y'all show the support over on her page too. Okay? Thanks for the heart, me. I appreciate you. Hey, Greedy. Hey, Paula. Hey, everybody. Hey, Janie. Hey, Alabama. Hey, Brenda. Yeah, but you know, once the show starts, I want people to show her page love too. You know what I mean? Hurry up! Woohoo! 50%. Thanks for the heart, me. Thank you. Hey. Come on, Jonah. Come on. Oh, good Lord, dog. I ain't got time for this. Let's go. Can somebody put her page on in the... Come on, Jonah. Come on. Oh, shit. She's early. Damn it. Ugh. Hold on. The hell? I don't know what the hell. Hold on. Shit. For some reason it's like... It's text message. I don't know. Trying to remember how to do this. Hold on. Is it gonna go? I think I got it. Hold on, I haven't been reading the comments. He's hanging in there, Christy. Hanging in there, hanging in there. I think I'm getting it. Okay. Anne's got me backstage right now. I'm hoping this will be loud enough for y'all to hear. And like I said, you can also go to her page and show her some love for doing the show. I won't turn off my notifications. There we go. She hasn't went live yet, but she's got me backstage. So hopefully this will be loud enough. I hope. If not, I will switch it over to the computer. Yeah, Brenda Lee, I appreciate it. Oh, my hair is not doing right today. It is. It is. But, you know, we do what we have to do, right? And, let me plug this shit up. Love you guys too. You know, some people will, you know, there's always going to be the evilness in the world, and just like me and some other people has discussed, things happen for a reason, and there's a reason. There's a reason for everything, so it's just, I don't know how to change the picture. I don't even want to mess with it. I just hope y'all can hear it. If not, make sure you go show that page some love while the show's going on too, please. And it's best for your questions. If you have any questions, you need to go over to the YT show and ask them there. That way questions are in one place. Okay? Any question. So it'll be open field for questions. The recording will not be played. That you can go listen to later or what have you. But I'll answer any question and every question I can during the show. If not, if there's any other questions when I go live later. Thank you. Okay. I got a notification. Where's it at? Upcoming. Okay, got it. So. And I'll probably be showing pictures over here too as well, so. Thank you. You ain't got to do that. I appreciate you. There'll be no panel during this process, okay? And any question needs to go over to the YT. Thank you. Any and all questions needs to go over to the YT chat. So I'm open to all questions. I will not be answering questions in this chat. It'll be the questions that'll be on the YT. She hasn't started the show yet. I'm just getting prepared here. So when she starts the show, make sure you show the page some love. You can go ask questions. And that's fine. It ain't like I need the big numbers here, but the people who don't go to the YT can be here. So, but make sure you show that page some love, okay? And the questions need to be over there. I'm good, Kelly. That's a good idea, Petty Betty. Yeah, I think I will. It's okay, Kelly. I figured this way. This way there's no questions, and if people want to manipulate it from there, people that watched, and it'll also be posted on my YT, this live. And any questions that people have left over will be tonight. And don't be afraid to ask questions if you have questions, please. I'm good with it. You're right, Jen. I'll tell it best like I can. So these wannabe alleged true crime people can pretend some more. They can pretend to be true crime. Brazen. Wonder why. Thank you for the heart, man. Appreciate it. Hey, Kelly. Thanks for the heart, me. Appreciate it. And for the new ones that's coming in, all the questions will be over on the YT, not here. Don't be scared to ask. Ask. I'm fine with it. I've been preparing for this for a few. There'll be some questions answered. Yep, please follow. Get the alerts from Anne's page. On the YT. Creator de Classe Magazine. For what account? For the YT? Thanks, Brenda. Well, normally if you go forgot, it'll give you the email. It should give you the email. It will send the password or whatever to change it with. Thanks, hypocrisy. It's okay. Never thought that, you know, telling my story to help people, to let people know that I relate, would ever lead to a lot of this. And, but even Blessed Mama said it. Things happen for a reason. Anne said it. Anne and I has had a lot of back and forth. I shared some images with her as well. I'll be showing images over here, but I won't be answering questions here. I'll be turning the comments off. So all questions will be on the YT. And Janie, what is your question if you have any, and I'll write it down and try to answer it during the live. Okay. That will be in your settings. I think she's going to start in about 10 minutes. I'm just getting ready. And eating some peanut butter candy. I think I got the... Okay, she just told me 10 minutes. There's a lot of strong people out there, hypocrisy. There's a lot of people that are just as strong. All right, Lucky Star. Well, you're just a strong lady. I know, Paula. Well, I got the fattening version of the peanut butter. You know, the powdered sugar. I'm hoping my other device is going to be loud enough. Thanks, Blessed Mom. I appreciate that. The comments will be turned off here when the show starts. What do you mean, some noise on here? Thanks, James. Is it glitching? You're not late. Well, no, about 5 minutes. Let them record. I don't care. If the truth hurts their feel-bads, then the truth will hurt their feel-bads. And just like I said before, if I show my information, it still gives nobody else permission to pass it around like candy. Okay? My information's already been put out for the world to see. So, awesome, justice for all being bullied. No worries, Tiffany. Any questions, and all questions will be on the YT side. So if there's questions, make sure you go over there, because I will not answer them here. Well, whether they record here or record there, doesn't really matter where it's at. I will be cutting comments off. Hey, Susie. You know, people make these burner accounts, and they need to realize when you block them, that's an indicator. I don't want you around. And when you make up burner accounts, backup accounts to do the same thing, that's stalking. Period. It's stalking. Blocked you for a reason. Take the hint. Move on with your life. And shut the fuck up. Stop making up lies to make your story more plausible. And there will be questions answered for certain creators on this app who don't know how to tell a story, who don't know true crime, who don't know how to listen to something multiple times and report it accurately. Okay. Comments are going off. And we begin.
Hello, hello. Here I am. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I am very happy to have you here this afternoon. We're going to have a special guest on today named Tree, and most of you already know her. And before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to explain why Tree is going to come on, because there is good reason. So I've gone over with you guys a few times that there has been a problem, mostly on TikTok, but ever since John Paul Miller, we believe, took the life of his wife, and it had been covered by multiple content creators. There was a group, kind of like gang stalking, that was created to give a platform to him initially, and that's their words, not mine, and kind of caused chaos and confusion and character assassination and a lot of harassment. And so it's happened to me, it's happened to Veronica Adams, it's happened to quite a few people, and now it's happening to Tree. And what they do is they'll take things from the past that they go and dig on that person to weaponize it against them. Okay, that is a form of harassment. By the way, just so everybody knows in the chat, everybody knows that's listening, the FBI's been tagged to this video. Just letting you know. Alright, so you've been warned. So anyhow, so because they had weaponized the death of Tree's husband, which happened January 6, 2020, and over this with you last week on what had happened, it was a DV situation. It got very out of hand, and it was a self-defense situation, which I read to you, the DA of that area writing to the police chief and saying we are not going to file any charges, and Tree will go over that, because they saw it as self-defense. But yet this group of women and some men have accused her of taking her husband's life. Have also accused that the son that was involved was a minor. All wrong and misinformation, but used to harass her. Okay, what I'm going to play for you right now before we have Tree come on is a short snippet to explain exactly what it is we're up against, and then we're going to have Tree come on, tell you the factual story, and then we'll go on from there. So let me just share this with you real quick, and then we will have Tree on. Simon says play. Okay, and hold on. We have a little volume issue going on. Where are you, volume? Ah, there you are. Beautiful. Let's try again.
Can you tell me about smear campaigns, how they're orchestrated, and who's involved, please?
A coordinated attack on someone's reputation involving large numbers of people working together across multiple areas of a target's life simultaneously. This is not a couple of people talking behind your back. This is a mass, organized operation built on lies, gossip, and slander. Here is how it is orchestrated. At the top, you have handlers and orchestrators who initiate the campaign, set the false narrative, and direct the entire operation. Below them are recruiters who bring in participants, neighbors, co-workers, community members, and sometimes even family members. Giving each person their role in spreading the narrative. Many of these participants don't even realize they are part of a coordinated operation. They simply think they are passing along information. Then there is a network of informants strategically placed in the target's life to gather intelligence, report back, and feed the narrative with details that make the lies seem more believable. Online coordination happens through private groups and encrypted messaging apps, where participants are given talking points and instructions to spread the slander across multiple platforms simultaneously. Here is who is involved: handlers and coordinators orchestrating the operation, law enforcement, hospitals, and official institutions lending false credibility to the narrative, community members recruited to spread lies and gossip, online accounts amplifying the slander across social media, and sometimes even family members or trusted people turned against the target. The tactics: they spread rumors and exaggerated truths mixed with outright fabrications. They isolate the target socially by turning their community against them. They sabotage your job and workplace, undermining your professional reputation and livelihood. They use gaslighting to make the target question their own reality. And they create a false consensus that everyone already knows something damaging is true. Smear campaigns are sustained and methodical over time. Not random gossip. Deliberate, persistent operations designed to completely destabilize the target and keep them in a low vibrational state. The ultimate goal is complete isolation or total discrediting, so the target becomes invisible and nobody believes anything they say. Their goal is complete character assassination.
Okay, so why did I play this for you? Because this is what we're up against. This is what all of us have been up against. This is what Micah was up against, and now this is what Tree is up against. I've been up against it, Veronica's been up against it, and thank you, Veronica Adams, for that video, by the way. And so we're going to have Tree on right now. We're going to have her come to the stage, and we're going to have her give, because I want you to know, because of this attack, she has been forced to have to resurface painful information, including that audio that is now on my channel. If you want to hear it, please go hear it. I'm not going to play it for Tree. It's too painful for her to hear. That's what she said, okay? And I'm not going to cause her any more pain than has already been caused. And we're going to get the facts from her, meaning, so from this point on, after this show, if you see anyone else covering anything about Tree and her family, her husband, and what happened on that day, or her children, you know now that it has nothing to do with true crime and all to do with cyber harassment and bullying. Okay. Are you there, Tree?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Hi, hon. How are you?
Hanging in, hanging in.
Glad to have you here. So, I'd like you to start off, if you wouldn't mind, with telling everybody how you met your husband and what your marriage was like in the beginning.
I met Mike in 2002 on the job site. I was a contract painter in a commercial building that he was also orchestrated building. He could build anything from the ground up. I've said that for years. We dated. He actually ended up moving in with me before we got married in 2003, which was June 7th. And I think it's probably the cheapest wedding anybody has ever seen. So we started off pretty decent. There was some quirks here and there, you know.
Right.
Quirks that I even had, you know, a lot of people have, you know, you get angry and throw something, you know.
Right.
And preemptively, I think that happened one time before we got married, and I just ignored it because I'd been there myself. But as it, you know, first couple years, you know, it would be, I would write things off, things that would happen. For instance, he had fell asleep on the couch, and and there was a little ace bandage. I tossed it on his lap to gain his attention and told him to go to bed because, you know, be more comfortable, and he just flipped out.
Well,
So I just,
when you say flipped out, do you mean he got angry?
oh, he got very angry. I worked it off as, okay, he just woke up, and a lot of people that just wake up, you know, disoriented, you know, half asleep, whatever, but I walked away from that, went to go get in the shower, and he just kicked the door in, put a hole where the doorknob is, was throwing clothes at me, and my children actually, you know, they were preteens, and they called 911 and because of what was going on, and I was told by the police officer that night that because of the ace bandage thing, I could go to jail.
Sounds familiar.
Right. And you know, and the cop actually told me, and I'll never forget it, I took a woman to jail for a teddy bear, for throwing a teddy bear. So yeah, it's, and progressively the anger issues got worse, so I kind of suspected maybe there was some depression issues, maybe bipolar, with the characteristics, and
Yeah.
it just steadily got worse from there.
Right. Now, I remember we spoke before the show, and it did, as you said, got worse from there, and you started to believe maybe he had head injury.
Yeah, he had a lot of head injuries with the profession he was in. He was a construction worker. He built things, you know, metal studs, even wood, whatever, sheetrock, different things. So they were, you know, bumps to the head in the natural workforce. But he got to the point to where some of those was self-inflicted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He
And
had,
you said that it happened a couple days or right before his passing too, didn't you?
we had, see, I was trying to remember exactly the year. My dog will be 8 years old next month, and he was just a puppy. So it was a couple of years before the picture I actually sent you, was a couple years before that he had took a 20-ounce coffee cup and actually cracked it on his head. So yeah, some of it was into plaster walls.
Wow.
So I mean, there was a lot of incidences, you know, that was self-inflicted, as well as the profession he held at the time, you know, building things, that also gave that infliction to the head, which he had, you know, when it was at work, he would have, you know, the CAT scans, different things. He had concussions from certain things that transpired from the job. So nothing was never seen on there other than, you know, the bruising and a concussion.
Right. Now, you had good moments and bad moments. It wasn't always bad.
Oh.
There were good memories.
Oh God, yeah. I used to, he was a hunter, and we used to go to, you know, the hunt club, which is probably about an hour and a half away from where we live, and we would go hunting together. We would, off hunting season, we'd go and cut trails and do different things. There was a place on the property that we would, you know, have target practice, I guess you would call it. But yeah, there was a lot of good times. We joked, we played, we laughed, there was a lot of good moments there. Yes, absolutely. And I'll never deny that. Never.
Would you like me to share some of those pictures
Hey.
that you sent earlier? That's
Yeah.
up to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be.
Okay. And then you just go right on ahead and.
Okay.
And the first picture I have is the differences that you showed me. Can you explain the left version of him and the right version of him?
The right version was the summer before. It was 2019, I believe. More vibrant, lively. you know, goofy. And he just loved the grandkids. He would play with them all the time. The one on the left was the Christmas before he passed.
Well, and that's like a month before, isn't it?
Well, from the summer, probably about 6 months. The summer before, you know, to that Christmas of 19. That it was big changes in his facial features, his eyes, it wasn't only the mental side of things, of the aggression, but even physical changes that transpired within. That's why the last 6 months was the very worst.
Right, and this was, so if this was December of 19 and he passed in January of 20, it really wasn't much longer after, you know, that he was gone.
Yeah, that was
Right.
right just before Christmas of 19, which
Yeah.
was only a few weeks before he passed.
Now, there were other pictures that you sent. Let me see if I can get them up successfully. Can you see that? Can everyone see that?
Yeah, that was the day we got married. That was in June 7th of 03.
Very nice. Okay. No, going in the wrong direction. Forgive me. Yeah. Is this stuff he built?
Yeah, him and I actually did it together, but it was his idea, his design concept. He, you know, even though he worked in construction and can build buildings and, you know, multi-floor, commercial buildings and so forth, but he could do anything. And this was his concept and idea, and I just helped him do it.
Okay, let me see. This is your family here?
That's my mom and dad. That was on their 50th wedding anniversary in 2015. Mike is on the left. Of course, I'm on the right. My dad and mom is in the middle.
Oh, that's nice. Now, what's this here? Looks like they're on the roof, huh?
Yeah, well, we had our roof replaced. He did it, and that there is with my daughter, and the other one is with my son, to where everybody participated.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never do that again, ever. But yeah, he could do anything, and, you know, he fixed all the, you know, things that need to be fixed and laid the new shingles.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Let me save you some money. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's my son.
Time. That's your son, okay.
Yeah, that was in 2017.
Okay, and this, it happens to be the son that was there on the day,
Yes.
January 6th? Okay.
Yep, that would be
He's
him.
obviously not a minor.
No, not a minor at all.
Okay, this is So, gifts? Are these gifts?
Yes, my Christmas gift to him was the DeWalt set. And then when I opened mine was the other set. So we bought each other, like, construction gifts because we like working with wood and doing different things.
That is
So
too funny.
it was, and that was in 2018.
18, okay.
Yep.
This one I like. I like this one. Yeah.
They were actually playing in the snow, and that was in 2018 as well. They had cleared so much, and they was actually balling up snowballs and going at it with each other. That's my son and my husband.
Okay. And I think that was it. So,
Yep.
did it get worse in 19? Was it 19 that really it got much worse for him and for you guys?
Toward, I think it was getting a little bit more frequent in 18. Toward the end of 18, early 19 is when it really, it was just a steadily getting worse progress. But that last 6 months was, whew, you didn't
Was
know
it
what you
more
was going to get.
Right. Okay. Okay.
He can go
Because
from happy to crying to just in
Wow.
rage in just seconds.
Wow. And that happened often in the last 6 months.
Very, very often, yes.
Now, can you actually bring us to January 6th? And people have heard that 5-minute video audio, but can you bring us through it and explain what's happening and what brought it to this point?
Yeah, I had a appointment with my attorney for my disability case that morning, that early, it was late morning, early afternoon, or it could have been afternoon, I can't remember. And I was just a week or so out of foot surgery. And I've had multiple since, but I was on a scooter because I can't do crutches. So he drove me. We had the meeting with the attorneys. And on the way back, somebody made him mad, cut him off. I can't remember, going too slow, I don't know what. And that's when the temper started. The driving got erratic. He would take corners at 20, 30 miles an hour, which I thought we were going to flip at one point. So my anxiety and PTSD just kind of kicked in, and he took it personal. He took a lot of things personal, even with my OCD for folding towels. So I can't do nothing right. That was his mentality. And even though my words would say it ain't, it's not, OCD. So he got angry and took it personal that it was about him instead of what it was actually about. And we got home. He helped me in the house with the knee scooter because we have the steps. And he was just steadily the wording, the arguing, the cut off, the you don't hear me. It just kept going. Once I got in the house is when I started recording.
Right.
I didn't...
And what prompted you to record? What made you record?
Just history with his anger. And he had actually walked across the street, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I was looking out the window, he turned around and came back, and was coming back. And I went to go put my shoe back on, because I was going to make my way down the steps one way or another, just to get out of the house and away from it. But by the time he come back in, saying things, and you cut me off, and the words that are heard in the recording, when he had grabbed the mechanism thing, the thing you hang clothes on wheels, it was all metal. There wasn't no plastic on it. It was just all the metal stuff.
Right.
Well, it came apart. And the one pole he had in his hand, that's when he came toward me and started whacking me with it. And the glass breaking was a picture behind my head that broke because he was, swinging on me, happened to swing too far out and got the picture. And he had hit my foot that I had to have surgery on. That's why I screamed, ow. And right then I noticed my son had came out with the pew-pew. And he had turned around and seen. And he started walking toward him. And I got on my knee scooter and was following him. My son kept backing up. And he kept going toward him and backed up to where we was close to the door. And I opened the door to try to get one of them to go out of it. And by the time the door opened, the pew-pew went off.
Oh.
And all I heard was his last words I'll ever hear. He said, "I'm dead."
God.
I never heard him hit the floor. I don't remember asking why he did it. I don't remember that. But I remember telling him to get a towel when he wasn't breathing. And I'd stopped the recording to call 911.
Right. Of course.
After the 911 call, or even during it, I was giving CPR to Mike. My son had to take over because of my foot. So he took over until rescue and almost practically the whole city showed up at my house.
Right.
And they worked on him for 20 minutes or so. And then they pronounced him.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I don't want your story to be twisted, so I'm gonna block every attempt for there to be twisting. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions. What would have prompted your son to react that way? Was there a history? Now you say history, but I want to be clear about the history. Was there a history of violence against you so much that your son needed to respond in that manner?
Yeah. There was at one point, him and my son got into a verbal argument about, I don't even remember what it was. He actually ended up punching my son that day. And I got in between them. I got in between them.
He hit your son, he hit your kids too.
Yeah, but he was grown. Well, there were a few moments when they were younger, back in 2010 or so, but I told him that's a big no-no, you don't touch my kids. So he just got to the point, well, I ain't gonna do nothing for the kids at all then. So, and he didn't. It was all me. And I was fine with that, considering that, you don't touch my kids. But there was a incident, probably a year before, to where I actually walked away. I walked out to take a walk to get away from the situation. And there was, a little time in between, and I went to come back in the house. And when I was getting ready to open the door, he opened it. He had a pew-pew in his hand, and he said, "You're lucky. Nobody's going to die today." My son
Now,
was...
I find that interesting. I don't mean to interrupt you. He said that same thing in the audio. You are going to die today. Did you know that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was when, my son made sure that the pew-pew was readily available, because afterwards I'd talked to my son, and he told me that he walked through the house with the 9 and chambered it. He heard it, and he had his ready.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the year before he died.
So you guys were walking on 2 feet and 1 shoe, pins and needles.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just a smack or a punch. This guy was walking around with, a loaded pew-pew.
Yeah.
Potentially going to take somebody out.
Yeah, he actually
constant
fired it one
fear.
time in the house.
Oh my gosh.
And that's one of the things that some people has misconstrued, because they want to add somebody else's news story and make it about what happened the day my husband died, and which is totally slanderous, purposely slandering what actually happened.
Well, that's what happens when you have the IQ of a turnip and don't know how to read.
True.
But okay. There you
So,
go.
I mean, I'd sent you pictures of some of the things that would transpire before, the actual punching started. I mean, he would just destroy the house.
Right. I think you gave me pictures of that. Let me see. I think you gave me pictures
Mhm.
of... I don't know what... okay. I think I have it now.
Back in 2008, he done similar thing, as the pictures that you have. And he was destroying things. He actually busted out a window. And the kids, they called 911. They showed up. And we had an extra window sash. So at that point, by the time the Popo got here, he was going to get the extra window sash to replace the one he broke. And there was a female cop standing on the other side of the fence and said, and told him, "Don't let me see you break it." And he told her to F off and called her a B. And I knew they were going to come get him then, and they did. He had actually cut himself busting that window and ended up bumping up against me on the back and forth through the home. And I had a smear on my arm, and the Popo used that to arrest him for DV.
Well, just looks horrible. This looks horrific. It looks chaotic
And
violent.
yes. So when they arrested him, I had that emergency protection order, and that actually, when he was arrested, was actually my birthday that year of 08.
Wow.
The court trial was in January, and it was through juvenile and domestic, which is not made public for looking at court records. So you can't find it on a public platform. You cannot go look it up.
That particular January of 2020, that's when it was supposed to be?
What, the pictures? No.
No, the court hearing.
No, this was when he actually got arrested for DV in 2008.
Okay, so this has been going on for a while.
Yes, ma'am. It just steadily got more frequent and more physical on myself and others.
The point is, you went through this for years.
For a long time, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I probably from 2010 on.
And on top of that, being injured and in pain doesn't make it any easier.
No.
No.
No, it didn't. I mean, you know, through the marriage, he had health insurance, but wouldn't put me on it. So he would get his medical care and I wouldn't. So mine got so bad, that's what ended up having my hip replaced, because I couldn't get it treated to prolong a hip replacement.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I'd like you to explain to everybody, if you would, why after 6 years you had to resurface all these painful photos and that painful audio, why you felt the need to do that.
There's a few creators on TikTok that started I guess you would call a smear campaign, and started gathering other people and giving their narrative of something. And these creators wouldn't come and ask questions or even look for the truth. They just believed what was given to them. And then it got to a point that with these group of people, they got together and wanted to do a FOIA of my case. And when I found out about it, I actually called the police department about that FOIA, and they told me who did it, and it was True Crime Re. But I know she's affiliated and speaks to other creators that we all know and don't care for. And I put that out because nobody's going to tell my story but me. I never put that out because it didn't need to be to do what my true feeling was to do by telling the story I've told to this point before, you know, putting that out, was to help others understand that you're not alone. And I've been doing it practically since I've been on TikTok, telling parts of my story so people would know I would relate. But when they want to make a mockery of something so serious, that's why I came out and played. And I thought I deleted it. I did delete audio off my phone. It just wasn't the right phone. So I don't know.
Let me ask you this. What was one of the accusations that these these alleged creators had said to you or about you in this situation?
That maybe he was my first victim. They've come right out and said that I pew-pewed him and that my son got away with M. They have said there's more to this story. She's not telling all of it. I mean, no DV survivor or victim will tell the whole entire story. You know, play by play, and just give basic information, what led up to an event or what have you, like with my story and how things played out. They don't want to know the true crime of anything, and they've said it was a crime. It was a criminal investigation because of what transpired, but it wasn't a crime at the end of the day because nobody was prosecuted, and it was found deemed self-defense.
Self-defense, right. And that's the letter that's floating around TikTok right now. Somehow that got out. And the, try not to curse or use insults here. The person who put out a video showing this letter doxed you and your son and your address.
Yes.
Am I correct? Okay.
Yeah, that would be Voices for Justice, Danielle.
Okay, there you go. And you would think that this very intelligent person would realize that they're actually giving away their whole fight, because in that letter it states that they found no reason to charge your son.
Right.
Because it was self-defense. So I'm not really sure what the reason was for showing that letter. Except, I don't know, idiocy, mental midgetness. I have no idea. But,
Well, anytime I showed that letter on, you know, on display, would always be redacted. And she showed it unredacted. And it doxed him, and that's what angered me the most. You know, I've been told that it doesn't matter what information I put out about myself, it does not allow others to send it around like candy and just keep spreading it, or do it themselves, because they don't have my permission to do so.
Yeah. And so, you know, they think that they could claim that they got it from certain sources, yet the feds know exactly where they got it.
Yes.
You know that, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
As long as
There's a lot of dots to connect, even with the fake accounts that I've gotten confirmation on who's behind them, yes.
Yeah, and I'd like to repeat that. I did hear that. I heard you say that earlier. When you make an account and you're harassing somebody with it and they block you, and then you go and make a new account so to show up and keep doing the harassment, you're not hiding yourself, not from the feds, because the IP address always stays the same. It means your location can still be tracked.
Absolutely.
So, no cigar.
Yeah, it's a big group of people, and, you know, anywhere from 8 to probably 12 people, if not more. And it's sad that, because I mean, I've opened my platform for any questions about it, and they would never come and ask, and went with their own narrative. And I'm going to say it this way: AK did a show to talk about another creator, and then talked about how they listened to the recording multiple times and still couldn't get it correct with what she had put out. The recording is 5 minutes, 19 seconds, or whatever seconds it is. That is all the recording for that day. But they have to understand there was multiple recordings through 2019 that was actually saved on that other device that I have, the other phone. that they went through. They downloaded my whole entire phone, pictures, videos, anything that I had. Now, one of the videos that I have shown on my platform, I don't know if I sent that to you or not, but it was the day that he, there was an argument, and I'm like, well, it's all about him, and I grabbed my Smiggers and a drink and my phone, and, I recorded what transpired, what he had tore up, and you can hear him in the background babbling, and I mean literally babbling, and it's not normal, behavior, and I've kept that one for the awareness of mental health or different things that goes on that affects the mental capacity of a person, and not just straight up narcissistic, it's my way, which you mostly hear of when it comes to DV.
Right. Yeah, I heard that. I did hear it. He was basically saying ba 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 ba, really nothing.
Yeah.
No words, yeah.
But as I was walking out the door, he started smashing up more.
Yeah.
And it was said by Matrix_Neo, we all know as Thomas, said that, that it was like I set him up to record. If he was so fearful, why, how could you record if he was that fearful? And maybe it was just a setup to set him up. And, for that to even be said, it just says a lot for the source, considering. It's sad, really.
No, it is. So now, I want to ask you, and for the record, that's why I'm asking, this actually made you have to file an IC3 report with the FBI?
Yes, it did.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. And you know that others have too, same group of people.
Yeah, they keep showing the one that I did last year, and I think there's a couple of people that's behind the accounts that I did last year as well. They just changed the names.
Right. They think that that's a way of hiding, but it's not going to work.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
And because this has been going on for well over 6-8 months, if not a year.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I think they've been watched longer. I think just that the more IC3s that were coming in, which I'm going to assume started about 6 months ago, they really have been keeping an eye.
Yeah, that's the hope anyway, because the narrative that's being created, not just by, with me, but with other creators and people that actually affect their life, and it's, it's wrong to do. And this might be because of what transpired with me and the false narrative that they're creating, but there's more people it's happened to other than me.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that. They too also have made reports. Do you know?
I don't know if they have or not. They've implied it.
Okay. They've implied it. Okay.
A couple of them said that they actually wanted to come here to the magistrate to do whatever they wanted to do. Another male also stated the same thing and said that there was 11 charges for me, which there isn't, and no follow-up with that one either. They've been putting out that the police station here, boy, knows just what kind of person I am. I guess they're trying to create the narrative that I call them every other day or something, but I don't and haven't. I made the initial report with my local police department on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken, of January. So they're very well aware of what's going on, which, the Alphabet folks can also look back on that report number, which is part of my report with them.
Right. I think that's the protocol, that the local is first, and then you go to the feds, because if anybody shows up on your front lawn, you want the local to know what's going on.
Yeah, because, they actually gave me the flyer with the FBI information on it when I made this report.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad to know they're working together. Well, Tree, I am sorry that you had to be brought to this point. We've all, in a sense, I mean, your situation is far more tragic, but I had to be brought to this point too. Now, I did a preemptive strike where I told everybody, you know, kind of life I had when I was backslidden and whatnot. And so that when this picture of my husband was floating around, some people in the chat were like, so, Ann told us about this already, you know. But it's still against the law. As a matter of fact, that law went in May of 2025, and I think I shared that with you.
Yeah.
Up to 2 years in prison for sharing something that is sexualized without a person's consent or doxing their name. And so I have to agree with this comment that I had just had up, and let me see if I can get it back real quick. You know, if you're yelling any kind of justice and supporting these people and what they are doing, you are justice for nobody. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to agree with that.
And if
You don't
anybody
have to
has
like
any
me, you don't have to
questions,
like truth.
if anybody has any questions, I'm willing to answer all questions.
Yeah, please put them in the chat, and I will give you the questions, and I'll ask Tree for you. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Tree. You don't have to like anybody. It seems like people have this problem with just agreeing to disagree. You know, for some reason, this justifies attacks. You know, and I don't know why. I guess maybe you're bored and you need to get a hobby or a job or something. Just don't like there's a lot of people I don't like, and I don't need to make a video about you or dig into your life. I mean, unless you'd like me to. But, you know, there's no need to do that. And so, you know, if there's things that I say or Tree say that you don't like, just don't listen. I don't understand the problem. Change the channel. But to dig into somebody's life and dredge up something as tragic as this and drag her family and her through this again, that's pathetic.
I think
you don't want me to get like I was last week.
You know, I can tell it's been hard for my son in these last couple months. And me and him both had to go through a process together. And,
I bet.
you know, it was a couple months after Mike had passed. My son came to me and he said, Mom, I had a dream with Mike in it last night.
Wow.
And I said, wow, what happened? He said, we were sitting on the front steps of the house. And that I was doing something. I don't know what he said I was doing. He said that Mike put his arm around him. And he said, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Oh, God.
And that helped him. He's a matter of a fact person. And,
Yeah.
but he, you know, it still took a toll on him about that. But that helped him. But I think it was Mike's way to let him know it's okay. His family, on the other hand, is different. After it happened, I'm blocking windows. I'm closing curtains. I'm, you know, scared of retaliation. There was a person made like a go-between his mother and me. And she had requested to plan the funeral. I let her have that. And I went and dropped some things off at the funeral home. The outfit that his mother bought him that Christmas, his camouflage covered Bible, and a couple of things for the family. And I had to sign the paper to give her the permission to use the plot, even though that was already prepaid. And this is another thing that, you know, I've seen. He is buried next to his first wife.
Right.
But-
Yes, and explain that. You were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, during the time that visiting there, to take these things. I wanted to see my husband, and they wouldn't allow me. They lied to me and told me he wasn't there. And they just treated me like horse crap because of what the family had told them. So I had asked, I said, can you please tell me and refresh my memory where Kathy, was buried? And another lady had walked in with some paperwork, and she says, I'll take you over there. And I said, okay. So we finished up there and went over to where Kathy was buried, where Mike is buried now. And I said, is there any fee associated, with the paperwork and the transferring, because they needed my permission as his wife for him to be buried there? And she said, yes, but you don't have to worry about that right now, because she's seen how I was being treated. Kathy passed away in 2001. She had a brain aneurysm.
Right, so he was a widow when you met him.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. She was in her early 40s, 41 or 42, I believe. She also endured, I've heard a lot of stories, especially since Mike has passed, from a very long time friend of Mike's, which is still my friend to this day, and his name is also, we call him Mike J. And he told me stories that he witnessed with his first wife, the destruction, the physical, and the whole 9 yards. So it was a lot to take in with the stories that I was being told that had transpired even with Kathy. And
now, Tree, let me just interrupt you 1 second. Brenda's asking, is this the Catherine that they are wondering about?
Yes, her name was Catherine, but everybody called her Kathy. I actually...
So I guess she's been mentioned by this group of people.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Was mentioned by AK. I don't mind putting it out. They put it out publicly. Yeah. So, I want to know who Catherine is. Well, number one, it ain't none of her business who Catherine is, but they had already bought the plot and everything when they were married. And they were married for about 12 years.
Right.
So, after Mike and I had met, I met her family. I met her mother, her sister, and the niece. And I became very close to that family. And they told me stories that she even left him twice and went back before she passed away because of the physical violence. I used to do, Kathy's mother's hair. She's a very picky woman. Italian, very picky woman. But
yeah, we know about them.
Very loud spoken people, very matter of fact people. But I had a relationship with them until Kathy's mom had passed.
Right.
And I was there 2 days before she actually passed. And I told her, I said, when you get there, I said, make sure to give your daughter a great big hug from me. Because she could not get over the passing of Kathy.
Sure, yeah.
So, but I knew her family as well, so I felt like in some sort of a way that I knew a lot about her, or that I even knew her type of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, it's rough to hear a lot of things, especially after you're married for so many years, wondering why things are transpiring, but,
Yeah.
my mind went through a lot of mental illnesses that it could have been with the actions that he was displaying. But nothing was never concrete because he wouldn't go get help, and it wasn't for the lack of trying on my part.
Right, it's not like you could force him. No, of course. Yeah. It would have been nice if he had been tested. You could have gotten some clarification on what was going on.
Yeah, because even with the medical things, from the concussions and different things that transpired, nothing was never seen. Because, even Mike J., our friend, he was like, does he have a tumor or something? Is there something going on? Because, he told me the last interaction they had together, which I wasn't even present for, and the way he betrayed himself, and that was 2 years before he passed, and he didn't talk to Mike J for the last 2 years that he was alive. And when I called Mike J and told him that Mike was gone and what happened, him and his brother had came over and said, well, we knew something was going to happen, and we just didn't know how long it would take for it to happen because of his behavior and what they had witnessed for over 20 some years.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me that his mother actually witnessed him throw something at you. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. A few times, actually. She was present. It was probably around 2011 or 12. It was his birthday. It was in September that year. And she had come over to give him something for his birthday, and some argument came about, and I said, well, I'm going to go to work. I left early. And so I got halfway down the road, and something told me to turn back around. And when I came back around and come in the house, he had broken tables. He broke one of those big screen TVs that was the projector screen TVs. He had broken so much. He had the table over his head. His mom was begging him to quit. And I stepped between his mother and him and said, stop, you're scaring your mom. And I wasn't even present for it. But, I mean, his anger it got really bad. And she witnessed a lot. He threw water bottles at me, she's seen. Why did you do that? He'd say, and I'd tell her all the time, he needs help. No, they ain't nothing wrong. He ain't crazy. So, you know, she aided a lot of the behaviors, because whatever he broke, she replaced it. No matter how much I begged her not to.
Yeah, like enabling, right?
And
what was that head injury call that you had brought up?
they had suspected CTE because of the behavior.
Okay.
He had never been previously diagnosed. Like I said, he wouldn't go get help. He did go to a therapist a few times before he died. He just, had that good for nothing attitude, everything's my fault attitude. Everything that's being said or done is against him, no matter what it was about. It could be about Joe Blow down the street, and he would take it personal. But because of the behavior and the outburst, because he would go from being joking and laughing and carrying on to just rage or crying.
Yeah, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was even, suspected maybe there was a tumor or something else going on. But it's something we'll never know, because even when the detective hand-delivered that letter that's been shown around, talking with him, about everything, he said, wish a lot of information had came out first, but considering what was going on that night, it was understood, he was understanding to the fact that a lot didn't come out about, the capacity of the mental side of things. But my line of thinking was, when you get married, it's for better, for worse, and richer, for poorer, sickness and in health. And if somebody has some mental things going on, you just don't throw them to the curb. And I think that's what kept me, that and codependency, and I'll be the first to say it, I've said it for years, kept me married to him. But I was planning to leave anyway. At that point, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't just stand my ground anymore, because it's not going to get better. It's just only getting worse. So I me and my son had talked about it and was planning to leave, and within so many months of this happening to start with. So.
Right. Now let me ask you, there's a question here from Brenda Lee. Was his dad volatile with his mother? Do you know?
Yes.
If any of that was going on? Okay.
She divorced him. These are stories she told me herself. incident where she actually had wounds on her head and so forth, and she would go have her hair done and they wouldn't even do her hair because of the wounds that she had at the time. And she actually divorced Mike's dad. Mike was young, and his father actually passed away when he was about 12 years old, and I think he had a resentment toward his mother because he didn't have that father relationship with his dad.
Right.
So yeah, there was a history of that too.
The history, exactly. Now, Veronica and Valley Cat are bringing up CTE. Yes, that is the same thing the NFL players were suffering with. I haven't really looked into it. I don't know how far they've gotten with being able to diagnose it. Tree had said that what she understands, they really don't have any way of diagnosing it with any kind of scan or MRI. It actually has to be post-mortem autopsy examination to find it, but I don't know. I haven't even looked into it to see, but this is exactly what Tree thinks might have been the issue with Mike, her husband.
Yeah, because of all the head injuries and different things. Because in football players, it will happen when they are younger because it is a very frequent contact sport. And that causes the disorders. You know, the one football player that unalived his best friend and went to prison and then unalived himself after he went to prison. He had CTE, but that was also post-mortem. They can only go by symptoms, true symptoms, if people are 100% honest, to try to maybe delegate toward that CTE with history, whether it be the medical history with the mental history, because it can play and be like in the lines of dementia and Alzheimer's, to where the mind goes backwards or they go completely insane.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll never know, but
No.
yeah, the combination. Right.
Yeah, there's a combination there. I mean, it could have been, because it had been many years, but that he had had a scan to his head anyway. It could have been a tumor for all we know.
Right.
But with the history, it's not likely to be, like a tumor or anything, because of the amount of years that corresponds with, the behaviors. So it's only speculating. That's why I say they speculated possible CTE. I mean, I don't know if schizophrenic or, anything of that sort, being untreated could lead to something like that. So it is all up in the air at this point. But it's known that he had a problem, and we'll just never know exactly what that problem was.
Now, did you have to, on the aftermath of this happening, very traumatic, did you have to get any sort of counseling or help to deal with what had happened? Because I know you loved him. It wasn't as if you didn't love him, even with all the abuse that was going on. You told me you actually loved him still.
Yeah. As I went through a lot of therapy. I went through a lot of therapists because, a lot of people think, oh, well, if therapists don't understand, well, then go find another one, and another one that best fits you. So I went through therapy, probably about 5 or 6 different ones, and I think the biggest therapy I received was from my cousin, because I was in such a rut, and I would just cry all the time. I would just seclude, the whole shutdown thing. And my cousin told me, I was talking to her one night, and me and her would talk for hours, and she finally said, you know what, get over yourself. And it was probably the best thing she could have ever told me, because it snapped me back to the reality I needed to see, that life's going on without me. Sorry, dry throat.
No.
And I've said it before, and people was like, oh my God, that's victim shaming. No, it wasn't. It was something I needed to hear. Sometimes,
it's like shaking somebody.
Yeah. to come back to the reality of, hey, you know, you still have a life to live. You still have responsibility for yourself, for living your life. And, you know, and I think that's what got me into when I first got on TikTok and found some people talking about DV, that I would tell my story so people would understand that there's a lot of people that can relate. They've been through the emotions, even though it was different circumstances. Pain is pain, no matter it's physical or mental. And
That's right.
hopefully help somebody be able to snap into what they need to be doing is walking forward and to love themselves again and to find themselves, because in that position, you're not yourself. I had to get myself back, because you put in such a transition to be the person you're not in these moments, whether it be because of mental illness or because it's just a narcissistic person that thinks they own the world. It still all falls the same way.
Right. Right. That's right. I want to share with you a comment. It's not a question, but a comment from Dragonfly Mimi. Tree, you are loved, and Stephen as well. It was a hard thing he had to do. Thank God he was there to save you that day. It's a very sweet thing for you to say.
That's sweet.
It is very sweet.
I mean,
and Steve, there's a lot of good people out there, you know.
there is, and I have met a lot, and some in person. They're wonderful people. Bless Mama, Lady in Red, and among others, Sarah. Especially when I went to Myrtle just over a year ago, and met some wonderful people there too, and I'm glad to have these people around me, because this last week especially has been probably one of the roughest weeks of talking about the DV side of things since I've been on the app.
Right. Well, it was important to get it out for a few reasons. One, to set the record straight, to debunk the lies. Two, as I said earlier, at this point, anyone who's going to talk about it in any manner is not doing it for true crime. There's no crime to solve. So we would, and since Tree has come out herself and told her story, there is no reason for anyone else to discuss it without her. So the only reason behind that would be to bully and to harass.
I feel that's the way it's been put anyway, is to bully, harass, pit people against each other, to cause people to doubt that it was an actual DV or that it was an intentional setup type of thing. It's been for malicious reasons, in my opinion. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And there will be consequences, whether they want to look out the window and act like, gee, where's the authorities? I don't see them here today. Crapola videos that they put up. We've all seen it. Dear God, get some content. You know, or get off TikTok and find a hobby.
yeah, well, you know what starts off as, you know, true drama, and it did. A lot of things started off as just drama, and you know, I'm guilty of some drama myself. But you know, when it leads to dealing with real life and getting others to believe what you have to say instead of providing any kind of proof, even though some of these folks has been invited to ask any questions before they were blocked. If they had questions, to ask, because I don't mind you ask the question. I just mind that you interpret things in a way that goes with somebody else's narrative and judge people, because it's not just for myself. It's how many other people that are survivors and or victims has gone through the same type of behaviors that these people are displaying.
Right, but let's be honest here. The person who's the head of this, remember I just played that video.
Yeah.
And it talks about the top tier being the handler, and then going down the list of tiers of people that are involved in gang stalking. Their intention is not for justice. Their intention is not for truth. Their intention is to work for the accused. They've admitted it themselves that they were giving a platform to the very person who cyberbullied Micah, and did a lot more. I put up a video earlier of Abigail, Micah's sister, and it's on my YouTube, by the way. It's also on TikTok on her channel as well, and Veronica Adams has it also. Thank you, Veronica, for that video. Veronica's been awesome with the videos lately.
Absolutely.
And this one was of Abigail talking about the Micah law. But in the very middle of that video, she says, this is Micah's sister, we do not believe she took her life. We believe her life was taken. Okay? So, in this sense, this could have been Tree. It could have went the other way around, and we wouldn't even have Tree with us. Just like Micah. And yet these people go, justice for Micah, and then you turn around and you attack another DV victim? You're full of crap.
And there's one thing I wanted to add about that day that's also been in question, that was misled in a way. When my husband walked toward my son, and he kept telling him to either get down or get out or something, I can't remember.
Yeah.
My husband grabbed for the pew-pew.
Uh-huh.
Well, after the fact, I found out how he grabbed it. And even the detective came to the same conclusion, because he's the one that told me. He didn't grab it to take it. You know how they grab to swipe it, to turn it on people. He actually grabbed it with both hands. He cupped it to grab it. And that's when the pew-pew went off. And the detective seems to think that he used my son to, you know how they say suicide by a cop, but it was by my son. Because he knew he would protect me at the end of the day.
Right. And it sounds like your husband was suffering in himself.
He was.
Not excusing his behavior, but it sounds like he knew, even himself, that something was wrong.
He couldn't control it, and I think, especially the last few days or month or so, he knew he couldn't control when these episodes happened, and I could see it after the fact. I just couldn't see it during it. But there was a lot of things I could see that, thinking back of how many times he said, I don't even have the balls to do it myself. And so it really caused him to, there was moments that he wanted to unalive me. He had left the house. I didn't know why. We was having a good day. No argument, no nothing. And it was about an hour or so, and I called his phone. I was like, where are you, honey? He goes, I'm at Mom's. He said, well, when you want to unalive your wife, you have to walk out.
Wow.
But, there was times he would actually threaten me that he would just put his hands around my neck and take me out. And there was nights I didn't sleep all night long because of that fear. Even the day he passed, he said it. And
He did say, well, I heard it in the audio.
Yeah. That wasn't the first time it was actually said, but, I think he realized he couldn't control those moments anymore. And I call him, he had, the good moments and the bad moments, but the bad moments were more pronounced and more often than the good moments. And I think he got to a point that he knew he couldn't control them anymore. And it led to everything that transpired. And, I asked for a long time, why? I even asked God, I'm like, why? Why couldn't he just went to sleep and just passed away in his sleep or something? Why did it have to happen this way? And it's, answers that we'll never get, but it's what we need to learn from certain bad events in our life, what we need to learn about it, to actually make us stronger, to move forward, whether it be to help somebody else or just to help yourself get back to what you need to be getting back to in life.
Yeah. Veronica says, I'm crying thinking of how so many others would have been able to speak up because of Tree. I want you guys to know, since last week, there have been a few people not related to Justice for Micah, didn't even know the story, but heard Tree's story from last week through me and reached out to me and wanted to know. They're also DV victims and survivors who wanted to hear her story. So I think they're here today. And if they are, you're more than welcome. And I believe that Tree, this is a jumping off point where Tree will be able to help many people. That's what I'm hoping for. This will be a jumping off point.
Well, that was the plan from the beginning, and you know, I'm not a politically correct spoken person. I do get angry and I do cuss a lot, and you know, I'm me. I can't accommodate people's wishes on how proper people, you know, do things. I'm me. And sometimes I can be outrageously blunt and yelling and, you know, but if I say something, I at least got proof to provide what I'm saying. And if not, I'll find it. If not, I'll speculate or say I assume. But, you know, this is me. And, you know, you can either accept me for me or not, because I'm not going to change for anybody ever again. Not after what I've lived through, because I changed as a person. My personality changed. Everything changed to suit the process. And so many survivors knows what I'm talking about. And you lose yourself. And at the end of the day, some of these survivors need to understand it's not you that's the problem, because who you were was what they married or got with. So if they can't accept it now, then why should you change who you are? And you need to move on. You need to get away from things that wants to change you and your personality to be something you don't even know yourself.
Right on. Right on. And this is why your story, you know, God will take something that was meant for bad and use it for good. I believe your story is actually going to help a lot of people. And it doesn't necessarily have to only be on TikTok. I believe you could do it here and be very successful. When I say successful, I'm not talking monetarily, although that's a benefit. I'm talking about you will see results, people that relate to what you've been through, and that's very powerful.
Yeah, it's just getting the following on the YT to even go, and because I've thought about that too, for the YT, but you know,
I'd like to help you with that. I'd like to help you get that following.
yeah, because
So
I
if
think
anybody-
it would make it better for that, and to figure out how to, you know, do things like, you know, you've done today, to have someone on panel to speak or whatever, in that capacity. That would, I think that was something I was shooting for even on TikTok, that, you know, was to help people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if it's okay with you, if anybody does reach out to me, would it be okay if I could send them to you, either via email or, because they may not be on TikTok,
Right.
or maybe just send them to your channel here on the YT.
Yeah,
If
that's
that would be
fine.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
great.
Because, I mean, you know, I work closely with a few people anyway. Just a girl next door. Her and I have worked together collectively.
What's the name of your channel, by the way, before I forget? Here
It is
on-
Tree 1967 For the Truth.
That's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Is it For the Truth, or it's the Tree?
It's all of it, because I've tried to look up just the Tree 1967 and had a hard time finding it. But if you put For the Truth, it should pop up with the picture that I have on there.
Okay, For the Truth on YouTube. Let me get that out there for people. Please find Tree. And you know what I'll do? after the show, I will put in the chat the link to her channel.
Oh, that'd be good.
I will also put, yeah, that'll help. The link will be there, but this is the name of it. I'll also have the link to Abigail's video as well, so that you guys can find that. And please go follow Tree, especially if you're somebody. Leave a message, you know, in one of her chats, and let her know if you can. If you're comfortable telling your story, tell your story. If you're not, just let her know that you would like to talk to her. She'll be very good at reaching out back to you.
Yeah, I've worked with Just a Girl Next Door on TikTok for probably close to 5 years, and I trust her with everything, and I mean everything, because
Right.
where some of us has worked side by side with people. When one's not available, the other one can be.
Right.
So it really kind of does a tag team effort to have that conversation, hopefully with somebody that, we've even helped with, how to do getaway bags, to hide things, to have it ready, to grab and go at a moment's notice. The whole 9 yards we have tried to help people with. So,
Wow.
because you don't think of that things when you're in the moment of things, So
Sure, yeah.
it's a process. It truly is a process. It's not only, a physical thing, it's also the mental process that people have to go through to get themselves back. It takes time.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, Anne, I appreciate you doing this. And it means a lot.
No problem at all. I'm more than happy. I love the truth. The truth never changes. And I can't stomach when somebody uses pain of another person to exploit. I have a rage that just goes through me, which most people heard last week, that I just want to choke somebody.
Well,
I
that's
have
what
to
makes
repent
me
a
very
lot.
disappointed with some of the Justice for Micah people that are mixed in with all of this. So, it's really sad because you don't have to physically live in the state of South Carolina to be Justice for Micah. Because, a lot of people can't be there, can't protest or what have you. But it doesn't make anybody else that wants that justice for Micah not to be, and to use different things to sway people to, I call it a popularity contest. It's not a popularity contest. It's many heads are better than one.
Right. Well, I've said this 500,000 times, that what these protesters are doing is great because they are blocking John Paul Miller from creating another congregation to victimize. This is great. I commend them for doing it and being so disciplined, but when it comes to keeping this story warm and not cold or swept under the rug like other stories, I'm sorry, but you got to give that credit to the content creators on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook who've kept this going.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't dismiss the work that's been put into proving this girl didn't even do this to herself.
But they got to realize too, with all the hoopla that's been going on for the last 2 years, has caused people to back away from publicly being true justice for Micah because of it.
All it does is piss me off and make me want to talk more. But that's okay.
Well, I know about that, but my language can be a little bit way out there to do that too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people should thank us for being that way.
Uh-huh.
Tree, is there anything? Yeah, right. Tree, is there anything else you would like to add for anybody to know that would help them know your story better?
Well, anybody that's on, the TikTok or whatever, any questions they may think of later, be perfectly welcome to answer any questions that they may have, because I'll answer them. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I know sometimes during the moment you can't think of anything until after the fact. And
Right.
I will always answer the questions that, and, if I have it, I'll provide the proof of it. Kind of like I, provided proof with you of different things, including the protective order that was in 2008. And real quick, one thing, when we went to court in 2009 for that case, the prosecutor, because I guess it was the state versus him instead of me versus him,
That's right.
and she asked all leading questions, and I couldn't answer nothing. I couldn't say anything because they kept objecting and I couldn't answer. So instead of her giving me the platform to say what transpired, she would just put it in a form of leading questions, which was completely messed up. And then I was asked to leave the courtroom while he got to sit there and say his side the way he seen it. And even the police officer lied in the courtroom, lied about the smear of blood that was on my arm, which is actually from him from breaking that window. They used that to arrest him, so it was all done improperly to start with. And when I left the courthouse and I came home, I left a message on her voicemail and told her exactly what I felt, and I thought it was wrong with what she did. She actually called me back, and she said, well, I thought you wanted him to get off. And I said, how would you know that when you never even contacted me before the court date to ask me what even happened for you to stand there and prosecute something? And I told her she needed another profession and needed to get out of that one because he needed help. And it was the best way for him to get it was through the courts.
That's right.
And they failed it.
Yeah. They failed him, they failed you, they failed your family.
Yes, they
As
did.
We've seen this so many times, yeah. Which is an amazing segue, Tree, to what Abigail was standing for. She's standing for the MICA law, and it doesn't sound like it's just in South Carolina.
No,
It sounds like it's in other states.
many
Yeah,
states.
so I'm going to put that link in the chat as well as Tree's channel. Please click on that. Please listen to what Abigail is saying, because these laws have to change.
Yes,
Victims' voices should not be shut down in court. They should not be shut down when they're talking to law enforcement and looking for help. They should not be dismissed.
exactly.
And so maybe there needs to be a new type of training. I don't know. But something needs to change.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that, Trey. That was really very powerful.
Well, I
So-
appreciate everybody who has come to listen and ask questions and
You
you
have
know
a lot of support in the chat. You have a lot of support in the chat.
exactly, and I can see that, and I love each and every one of you for it, and I'm glad people do come to listen to hear the things, and there's a lot I can provide and prove. Anybody that wants to listen to that recording, you just go to Ann's page, because I will not play that ever again. And
Right.
I really, in a way, acted on emotion that night because of what was transpiring at the time. And my thought process is nobody's going to tell my story except for me. Nobody's going to take and get a FOIA to mislead and use it for malicious
That's right.
reasons as they've done in the past, but they would probably add more to it. And nobody was going to do that except for me. So I'm lucky to the fact that they actually denied the request, because it was a criminal investigation because of the manner in which everything happened that day. Nobody was charged with a crime. So therefore, it can't be what you call true crime, as we all know it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's no reason to cover it. Well, thank you, Tree, for coming out. I give you a lot of credit. You're very brave for sharing this. And what I'll do is I'll even add the link to the audio in the chat after the show. If anybody wants to hear it and get an idea of what happened that day. Tree explained it, but then you'll be able to hear it. Tree, of course, naturally, you don't have to hear it, but this is for other people. And some of those victims that are out there, you haven't reached out in the chat, and that's fine. But if you want to hear what had happened on that day, January 6, 2020, that will be available for you also.
there was one question you had, and I just remembered, on why it was prolonged for his burial.
Yes, yes.
That was actually during COVID, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about COVID until May of that year. That's how messed up I was. I didn't
I'm
even
sure.
know. Well, that's what prolonged the funeral process. He was cremated. So
Yeah.
the process, it was either September or October of that year. And I was actually there, even though they didn't advertise it. It wasn't on the funeral website or the funeral home's website. It wasn't anywhere. They kept it from me. But, there was an extra power that gave me what I needed. That I actually stopped by the cemetery the night before. Something told me to go. And I seen they had a setup for the funeral on the following day. And
Wow.
my son's like, well, what time do you think? I said, I'll let you know. And along it's about 11:30 the next day, I said, okay, we got to go now. I mean, it just hit me and we went. Well, when we got there 5 minutes later, here they come out. I parked behind the mausoleum. So I went through the back end of the mausoleum to the front glass, which you can't see through because it's mirrored. While the burial was taken, the service was taking place, graveside. And after they left, we walked over and had our own. So unbeknownst to them, I was there. And, there's always that higher power to give you what you need to...
God is very good.
Exactly.
Let me fill the gaps if I can. So, before anybody else attempts to. So, if he passed away in January of 2020, the announcement for the shutdown was March of 2020, and because this was a investigation between January and March, I'm assuming that he was held up and not released until after. Is that correct?
He was
After
he was
March.
released after the autopsy, but the investigation took 4 months. They
Did
had...
that get in the way of the funeral as well?
I think so. I
Investigation?
think it was. And, that was the beginning of COVID anyway, so there was precautions actually being put in place even
Yes.
before March. So,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, but the investigation did last for 4 months. They had our phones for 2 weeks. They had my son's clothes. They had his pew-pew. They
Right.
took evidence out of the house, which was the rack. There was a couple other things that they took, for evidence and so forth to complete their investigation. So, yeah, it took 4 months.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so that fills the gap. Okay. I
Right.
wanted to fill the gap before somebody else attempts to with crap.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But I was there.
Try to fill.
I was very thankful that I was able to have that.
Yeah, that servant.
Well, yeah, I've got a history of it. It's just I didn't listen to it until, the last, 8 years. I started listening to it. Well, especially after, I guess you call it a premonition, I guess it would be. 4 months before my husband actually balled his fist up the first time, I had a premonition of something that transpired, and it was in color, no less. And I thought it was just based out of fear because of his actions at that point. Because he hadn't laid his hands on me up until that point. But 4 months later, what I saw happened exactly the way that I saw it.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably think I'm full of crap, and they can think
No.
whatever, but it happened, and that's pretty much the epiphany where I needed to listen to certain things when it comes to, I call it a gift, I guess you would call it.
It is a gift.
And I started listening to it. And it's a good thing I did because I wouldn't have been there that day he was buried.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you followed what you were hearing, your instinct, what you were hearing. So I'm glad that happened. And thank you for sharing that too.
No worries. I mean, I'll answer any question even after this. I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Right, and again, anybody wants to speak to her, if you reach out to me, I will definitely connect you with her. whether it be on YouTube, TikTok, or even I have her email as well. There's multiple ways to reach her, so don't worry
Absolutely.
about that. And again, on the chat after the show, there will be a link to Tree's channel. There will be a link to Abigail's video, and there will be a link to the audio of what happened on that day between Tree and her husband, her son, January 6, 2020. Alrighty.
All right, sounds
Thank
good.
you, Tree.
Thank you so
You
much.
did wonderfully. I'm very proud of you, and I hope this, stops the cycle of harassment and bullying on you.
Hopefully, if not, maybe the Alphabet folks will take over that and take care of it for all of us, actually.
It could be any day now. So.
Absolutely.
Anyway, don't underestimate the feds.
Absolutely.
So, thank you guys for joining us, and for everybody that's into prayer, please Psalm 91, the Lord's Prayer, always in the name of Jesus Christ. And until we do see you again, which should be soon, please stay safe. Thank you, Tree.
Thank you.
And God bless.
God bless everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Okay. I'm going to turn the comments back on. Ugh, now I gotta figure out. Let me get the comments back on. Settings. Where's my comments? This is weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. Found it. Whew. Yeah. Couple moments I thought I was going to lose it, but I was able to not really fully lose it. One thing, I will always love my husband. I will always miss him. I wish he had a better life than he had. Love you too, honey. I'm going to change this over so I can read the comments. And have me a smigger. I think I will change this to this one, and I can really see. Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't do this to gain popularity. I didn't do this for clicks and views. And I know people will claim that one way or another. Thank you, guys. But I set out to help people with my story. Nobody has to tell every detail of their story. Nobody. Because of the trauma that's behind somebody's story. Example, mine. Well, some of the stories should have been left where it needed to be left, which is not the way it's been displayed. Somebody telling their story in the form they want to tell their story, that's the way it should be told. Nobody should have to give the details, or, you know, for whether it be AK or Thomas or whoever wants to put doubt, and Danielle, another one, to put doubt on somebody's story where they don't even know. They don't have no asking them for proof, but I'm able to provide it. And people need to understand you cannot be a true crime creator about anything that has to do with DV and do this to people. You can't. Collectively, whether it's one person or 20 people, it doesn't matter. When you engage into things like this, you hurt people in real life. Not just me. But it makes you wonder how many other people it's been done this way. Well, they need to get a life of their own. They need to find a better way to do things other than to gang up on people. And like I said during Ann's show, I'm not the only one. I am not the only one they went real life with. And I'm not going to probably be the last one, you know? And anybody that supports people like myself, this is why people way back. Because now they don't want to be attacked like Bless Mama. Okay? So, it comes to a point that if you have a platform as big as some of these people do, and you use it for malicious reasons, hey Sue, there's going to be repercussions for it. And when you plan things behind closed doors, okay, in malicious ways, which has been done and I got proof of, you're just as wrong as the person up front. So you don't have to be the host of things. You don't have to be up front of things to actually be considered one of these people. So it doesn't matter how hard you try to keep your hands clean, your hands are dirty as shit. Whether it's up front or in the back door, it doesn't matter. I'm not perfect, I screw up. Everybody screws up. But once it's recognized and you try to correct it, that's where it matters. Not what you make up to go along with it. And that narrative there is what's going to get a lot of people in trouble. And I mean a lot. Because you don't do this and then sit there and scream justice for Micah. You don't. You don't do it for justice for anybody, no matter their name. Thank you. I'm glad there were people listening. And there's probably other people that are not good people listening, but let them listen. I don't wish this on anybody. Not for what they've done or how they've done it, or other people they have gathered within their circle, well, not even circle, square table, to jump on board, especially with some of these allegations that's been coming out. Hey, Wendy. If anybody wants to come up, I'll open the panel. Or if you have any questions, I'll answer. You know, I know a lot of things can't be. Thanks, Wendy. You know, I still got the jitters. You know, you get that jittery feeling inside. I'm still trying to tame that down. But with y'all's support and Ann to do this means a lot. I mean, it should never lead to something like this, but just like Blessed Mama said, it happened for a reason. So we just have to look at it that way and not wonder why it happened, but wonder what we can do with it. Yeah. And if you want to come up, let me know in the comments, because so many times it's accidental. Yep. I appreciate you all. Oops. Well, thanks, Jam and Jelly. I appreciate it. But there's a lot of people that actually has done a lot of what I've tried to put out over the last almost 5 years. And I just happen to be the one that be in the limelight at the moment. But it's a place that I share with many. Unfortunately, share with many. Did you want to come up, Bless Mama? Okay. Hey, James.
Hey.
I'm just coming up briefly, but I did want to come up and tell you, as one of my dear friends, that I'm very, very proud of you. That took a lot of courage for you to do that. I hope this reaches many of others who might need to speak to someone who's been in a similar situation. And hopefully, this will open the eyes to many people. I'm praying for you and your son daily. And I just want to tell you, from one friend to another friend, that took a lot of courage, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I love you, and I'm here if you ever need to talk. I'm here for if you ever need a shoulder to cry on. Um, I'm here if you need prayer. I'm here for whatever the case may be, because that's what true friends do. And even if I wasn't your friend and I never met you in person, I would be here for you. It breaks my heart. And I just want you to know, Tree, that you are loved and there are people that care about you, and we all care about you. And we'll all be here for you. So you have a great circle surrounding you. And like Micah used to say, she would keep her circle small. So it doesn't matter if your circle is as small as it can be, as long as the people that are surrounding you are good people and true people. And that's all you need. So keep your head up, Buttercup. You are loved, and we can just continue to hope for brighter days. But I'm glad you got your story out, and I hope it touches many other people. And I love you, and I just wanted to come up and tell you that. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I love you too.
You're welcome, friend. If you need anything, I'll be in the chat, okay?
I appreciate it, hon. Thank
Of course. I love you with all my heart.
you. Love you too. Give me a second. I think people really truly need to understand the flashbacks are horrendous. I had myself to a point that they were at bay for the most part, but was able to put them at bay when they came up quicker until recently. So it's kind of like starting all over again with that. But it leads to a lot of emotions, you know. Thanks, Tina. And the collective of people that wants to gather and be malicious with things and plan things is horrendous. And I know it's been done to a lot of other people. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Oh, God. Whew. Okay. I'm a mess. I didn't see a lot of the comments that came up because I had to not look up. You know, I couldn't look at the comments or anything being said, but wanted to give, you know, as much that would answer questions as I could. And I know there's probably more, and that's okay. And whoever has them, don't be afraid to ask. But I'm not the only amazing person out there either. There's a lot of amazing people. Some are scared to talk. Some are, you know, they do talk. And I have not seen, or you have seen, but there's a lot of people that tried to be just as forthcoming for awareness as any of us have been. If anything, Micah touched everybody for a reason. And that was for change. It was for the people who can't talk for themselves. It was for the people who couldn't fight for themselves. It was for the people to be recognized or the laws to change. That's why this story has hit so worldwide, and so many people want to see it. It's not just about a group of people who can be true crime, but also have the compassion behind it. Thank you, Holly. And that's where a lot of the justice actually helps to get to. The true feeling and the true heart behind it. Not to sit there and discredit people because of what you think. But I know a lot of people's actions on this app alone discredits a lot of people from actually being true justice for anybody. Not just Micah, anybody. I mean, that's pretty evident. You know, they make it pretty prominent themselves without, you know, all people has to do is look at it and go from there. Oh, thank you. Ugh. I don't even know how many people were on here. I know I seen over 60 on the YT at one point or another. I don't know how many had came in here. I didn't really pay attention because the comments were off. Just hope that people who did remain over here could hear everything. Ann and I talked about so much last night and trying to make sure all of it was you know, implemented. It was? Okay. You know, in the show, because it's important to take the doubt away from what people hear. Good. I'm glad, Connie. Anybody who missed it can go back and rewatch it. I'm going to post this live on my YT as well. Hopefully justice will happen for a lot more people than just Micah. Because to me, Micah went through and did what she had to do in her life before it was taken, in my opinion, to try to bring that awareness for others. You know how many people in the beginning would say, okay, this is the key to get what needs to be done, to where the nameless were named. The kind of like Tracy Hermes, that woman will never see justice. Why? Because too many people on this app want to make it about one. And that ain't the way Micah planned it. Micah didn't make those videos toward the end of her life just to be about her. It's to be about others as well as her. The injustice that was done to her, the crap that she had to go through and live through, to where she's no longer here to tell it, but she left enough behind to hear it. And that's the important part, is what you hear and what changes need to be made to help all victims to become those survivors, to help move on with their life. And at the end of the day, that's the key. And those who want to keep that to where it's a popularity contest instead of what it truly should be, holds it up for everybody else. And that's what angers me the most. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Because it's about everybody. Even Tracy Hermes, who will never see that justice. And the people before Micah will never see justice because they couldn't get it. That needs to change for today and tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. That needs to change to help people who have to go through crap, who have to go through life-changing experiences. And people are not using it for that reason. They're using it for popularity. It ain't the numbers that makes the difference. Not on a public platform. Not on YT, not on TikTok, not on any news station. It doesn't matter. What matters is how things change to make it better, instead of all these victims and survivors being silenced. And I'm not the silent type. And I think that's angered a lot of people. I don't easily sit down anymore. When I got me back, I'm not settling. I'm not being silenced. And I hope other people can get the same oomph behind them to not be silenced anymore, and get these other people to sit the fuck down and go away. Too many people say, oh, let it go, ignore them. That's how we got here. Too many people let it go. Too many people ignore. Not enough people stands up. It's just kind of like with everything in life. Not everybody won't stand up for the same good purpose, but they grow in numbers for the bad purpose. The manipulation, the bullying, the harassment, the stalking. And they need to understand, if I block you, that means I don't want you on my platform. I blocked you for a reason. That doesn't mean to make a burner account or a backup account and come in anyway. You are blocked for a reason, whether it's a public platform or not. When I can prove you are blocked, that is your cue to stay the fuck away. Plain and simple. That's not more of an excuse to say, oh, we're on a public platform and we can do what we want. There are rules and regulations and laws set in place to do the totally opposite. Don't let them get you mad. Sometimes you have to get mad. That's what gives you the backbone to keep standing, is to get mad. Show them you're angry. Show them it's going to stop one way or another. I'm not sitting down. And if I get angry about it or upset about it or emotional about it, then so be it. That's the way it's going to be. You want to say anything, James?
Oh, I'm good.
Well, they can be angry. I don't care if they're angry. But when you're twisted and mean and deceitful and manipulative, and you use other people to try to silence a few, that's a sick individual, and they need therapy. They need some kind of therapy, whether it be cell therapy or therapist therapy. Either way, that's what needs to be done.
I don't think a therapist could help these MFers. They
But
don't
at the
get
end of
paid
the day,
enough to do it.
true. There ain't enough money in the world to pay them enough to do it. But, you know, they can be who they are away from everybody else. And to shut their mouth about everybody else.
They need a padded
Because,
room.
well, true. Nobody should be pushed to limits that they've done. And I guess I'm just a bitch enough to say, okay, no, that ain't gonna happen. You know, whatever the case may be, it's not, I won't agree to that. Do your best. I mean, when they instill fear into people for their safety, okay, I think that's what angered me the most. And that made me more, oh, the fuck you ain't. No. Because I ain't going nowhere till my time comes, no matter what people do to me. I'm not going anywhere. Not if I can help it. And hopefully that'll give a lot of other people courage to stand up more. And the more people that stand, the less of them we have to worry about. You know, it's kind of like, you know, people saying about going to Walmart or a gas station. If enough people, if we can get everybody on board for 2 days to not go shopping, not buy gas, to not even go in for a big gulp or a Starbucks coffee for 2 days, how much the American people can say, hey, look, we're done. This is the same thing. To grow in numbers, to say, you know what? You're done. You're done manipulating. You're done hurting people and sitting here using a platform for such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman to manipulate your way to popularity. Let's make them popular, but not in the way that they want. When they grow in numbers, we should grow in numbers, but we should supersede those numbers. The more people that stand, the less people to listen to them. And that, at the end of the day, is my goal. Is more people to stand up against people like that. Every single one of them. Whether they up front with dirty hands or from the back, behind closed doors with dirty hands. You don't have to physically do it. You don't have to physically put out a video. You don't have to physically have the discussion online, which some have. You don't have to physically see what they're doing. But when you get proof of what they're doing in the back, it gives a whole new meaning to sick. You're just as guilty. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the people that would just go do a bank thing. One stays in the car as a lookout and the getaway to hit the gas. You're just as guilty as the ones that went in the building. You're going to get charged with the same thing of the ones that went in the building and done the dirty. So just because you in the car, don't mean your hands ain't dirty. And if I have to sacrifice to do it, then I'll do it. I don't care. Because it needs to stop. Too many people's been silenced, and a lot of them are survivors and or victims. Especially the last 2 years. And we've all seen it. People need to open your eyes and look at stuff. Don't just go by what you hear or what they manipulate. Go ask questions. Especially when I've opened my platform to ask a question and nobody did. Like AK. And others. And only we, the people, can change that no matter what platform we're on. It doesn't have to be TikTok and be YouTube, Book of Face, doesn't matter. What matters is the action that helps it instead of hindering it. Silence hinders. Speaking loudly solves the problem. And I guess I'm just a bitch-ass big mouth to do it. True. But you know what? The truth will come out. But that's okay. Don't mute. Don't block that one. Don't block that
I
one.
didn't.
Bless Mama. No, 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 no. I know Cookie. I know Cookie. Unblock. Unblock. Sorry. I thought you knew, Bless Mama. Just unblock it.
I don't even.
When they did the autopsy, did they not check? No. No, they didn't know a lot of the mental background at the time of the autopsy to do that. Normal autopsy doesn't dissect that part, you know, when it comes to the brain. Thank you for unblocking. Sorry. All mods, don't never block Cookie Monster. I know who that is. Anonymously. And that was something that the detective and I had discussed when he delivered that letter. She's the Cookie's unblocked. Not she, but
Hey, Dragonfly.
he's unblocked. Unmute him. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on. Got it. Sorry, Cookie. It's got everybody on their toes, which, you know, we can all understand why. But I think I forgot to tell Bless Mama. So it's all good.
How you doing, Cookie?
You know, I don't mind a lot of people with new accounts, especially, you know, when I know them. And, you know, they like to listen and want to maybe find the truth. That's fine. Got a question asked, just like that one was asked. And, you know, about the autopsy. Normally, you know, when you have autopsies, it's for a cause of death. Of course, we all know what caused Mike's unaliving. And I've even showed the death certificate to prove it. They have to be matter of fact on the death certificate and or legal forms when it comes to this investigation that transpired. So they have to call it what it is. Homicide. You know, unaliving by perpetrator. So basically, in a sense, because it was listed as a criminal investigation, because of the nature of what transpired, that's why. So therefore, it leaves those records that they can't be FOIA'd because of the type of investigation it was. So the other things, you know, like the protective order or the court that I spoke about earlier for 2008, you will not be able to find those records online anywhere because they are under juvenile and domestic. You know, keyword, domestic. So, exactly. And, you know, I got the recording of, you know, the person I spoke to about the FOIA. They actually made sure they went to talk to their supervisor to make sure they could give me who FOIA'd it. And they got the clearance to give me that. And, must be the mailman. Nope. Go.
Brother home?
Yeah. He acts like he's new. He doesn't live here. He don't do that with me. When I drive up, I'll hear him barking and he stops because he knows it's me. And I don't know why he doesn't do the same to him. I mean, he's been living here his whole life, the dog's whole life. If they do, it's mostly for stay, like tumors, bleeds, different things of that nature. They don't look for things specifically like for CTE unless it's otherwise specified in documentation when the person actually goes to the morgue to have that done. Okay. So if there's a suspicion of, you know, the cause of death being a medical thing, like an aneurysm, then yeah, they will do that. Absolutely. But if it's because of things like CTE, which is, you got to have a history of something in order for them to look for something, and they can't actually look for something, you know, that they don't know about.
Try getting blocked from your own account.
Okay, now you can go see him. You ain't gonna bark. So,
At least you
Yeah.
hope.
But there wasn't a lot that went to the coroner about the mental side of things until after the fact. Self-blocking. So that didn't leave the information there for them to actually, because you really have to dissect a lot to get to that point. And of course, there's been a lot of things that's probably improved to help people with a diagnosis without being able to look with them being alive, because you can't detect it on a scan. Maybe they will get to that point. You know, now that they know physically what that damage looks like, maybe there's a way to determine the differences in the scans to actually pinpoint it. So hopefully that'll be something that'll grow to detect it early, to maybe, you know, there is no cure, I guess, per se for it, but treatment of symptomatic reasons, you know, symptomatically, like you would a cold. Because there's no cure of a cold. Do I even want to look?
Yeah, I thought there was a cure for a cold. Time.
No, you only treat it symptomatically. It's kind of like a virus. It's got to work its way. You know, it's the course.
That's why I said time. That's the cure. Time.
Yeah, but, you know, symptomatically, you take, you know, Tylenol, Motrin, whatever, for your aches, fever, cough medicine to calm the cough.
I've just been an a-hole.
I think Alzheimer's and dementia is actually can be somewhat detected. Yeah, or immune systems, yeah. Because there is differences in the brain. It's just the capability of doing it, you know, implementing it, to know the differences and to everything else, you know what I mean?
Hey, Dr. Bell.
I mean, I used to have conversations with drug reps. Now, I did go through MA school, okay? I completed the whole course. I was 2.5 points from being certified. So I could work as an MA because I completed it. I couldn't do it certified because I didn't have the money to take and make up 2 questions, 3 questions to get my points up for 2.5 points. Thank you, Allie. Yeah, the brain is very complex. But, you know, they've come to find a lot of things that transpires with the brain. Different damaged areas. The frontal lobe is a big one for Alzheimer's and dementia. So when I completed MA school, I worked for a urologist as an MA, and I also worked for a psychiatrist as a secretary slash coder, biller, phone answerer. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Everything in an office. Had a lot of conversations even with drug reps, you know, with certain things. Boy, that was a conversation they don't want people to hear. But I learned a lot working for that psychiatrist. A lot, because most of his patients were dementia and Alzheimer's. And there's so many things that can be connected to the disorder as a secondary diagnosis of. Meaning, when somebody has heart problems and their oxygen is depleted, it can actually cause permanent damage. It can come across as a dementia type of situation. It can cause them to see things that aren't there, to have angry moments, you know, that up and down flippy floppy thing with Alzheimer's and dementia. And it just depends on their stages. And there's many, many, many stages to Alzheimer's and dementia. So it depends on when it first started. Alzheimer's is because of aging. Dementia is like Alzheimer's, but it's caused from damage. Now they want to mix everything like they do ADD and ADHD. So now they just call it all ADHD. So many things has changed since I worked for that psychiatrist and neurologist. So, but I learned a lot, especially when it comes to dementia and Alzheimer's. And it's the same thing. You got to treat it symptomatically. It slows the process down. Some Alzheimer's been caused by maybe deficiency in vitamins. There's so many different causes that can naturally occur for Alzheimer's. But in one way, shape, or form, dementia is caused from damage to the head, whether it be the lack of oxygen or impact. So there's a lot that you can read up on when it comes to that. And there's so many things that's come into play for it. Just like, Dad has dementia. Because he had a double brain aneurysm. And he lived. Okay? He was very fortunate. And that was in 1992. I was pregnant with my son. So even though I'm not a registered nurse, a doctor, you still learn a lot. And you don't need to have that permission or that profession to learn things.
You want your pizza this
Had
time,
dementia.
or just more ham, cabbage, and salad?
Yeah, it does. And, with Dad, it affects his moods. But, he could still go to the store and get what he needed, drive and everything else. He still does. He's going to be 82 years old. But it affects other things. And he was diagnosed back in 2012. So, and that was actually damage to the frontal lobe from an aneurysm. And the doctor told him then that the probability of having dementia would probably come to pass. Mm-hmm.
Noodles, ham, pizza.
Noodles. Thank you. Appreciate you, honey.
Yep.
It's a process. I don't know. When I worked for the urologist, he was across the hall. So my afternoon would be spent with the urologist, and my mornings to the afternoon would be spent with the psychiatrist. Well, they both doctors knew each other. And they would go to India for vacation, but they would go for a month. So I would have to still maintain his prostate cancer patients while he was gone. And they would get injections every 3 months, and a lot of those injections would fall during that time. So I would have to give those. And after the doctor would come back, they said, "Can she do it?" Oh, Lord, I loved it.
Dr. Pepper. Okay.
You can gain a lot of knowledge. When you go through MA school, they teach you things you'll never use. They'll teach you why the pap smear was named pap smear. It was after a person. Just kind of like a lot of diseases. They're named after people. Well, I wish I got my certification, but to retake, and the one thing that caused me not to get my certification was the endocrine system. It was two questions that caused me that one credit from getting my certification. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Bless mama. The reason I wanted to become an MA was because I helped take care of my grandfather, my dad's dad, adoptive dad. Very sick man. Saint of a man. Oh, God, was that man a saint. And I took care of both my grandparents before they passed. between breathing treatments, medication, cooking, cleaning, everything a CNA does plus. And I think that's why I went to school for it, to be a part of that process. Well, medical school, yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. Hour and a half, I want to say. About an hour and a half. There was a lot covered. I know there might be some extra questions or whatever, so just feel free to ask if you want to ask. Hematology, endocrinology, microbiology. I never could be good with any of that, Cookie. ADD helped keep me from a lot of things in my life. Untreated ADD. Now, after I started working for the doctors, the psychiatrist, he came up, Dr. Palat, I'll never forget, he's retired, he's been retired now for years, but he walked up to me one day, he said, "You're ADD." I said, "I know." He goes, "You need Adderall." I said, "No, I don't." He goes, "Oh, yeah, you do." Well, I trusted him and went to my psychiatrist, and it was low dose. The difference to sit there and be able to check somebody in, be on the phone, listen to the doctor, and do this stuff all at one time and actually understood what I was doing and not get confused. It was like, holy crap moment. That's why it was hard in school. It was even hard through MA school. But I didn't quit. I knew I wasn't going to get certified, but I completed it anyway. I went through and completed everything. It didn't make me stop. Good Lord. I don't know, before, the older you get, the worse it gets. You know what I'm saying? Even being medicated, but, we deal with it. We go with the flow and do what we can, but, it... We just do what we gotta do. I wish I'd had it when I was a lot younger. It would have helped me through a lot of things. Because I quit school. Now, back then, it was called junior high, not middle school. That was 7th grade on was junior high, which is middle school. I quit my first year of junior high. I quit school. Now, in 2004, after I got married, there was a thing called, it was Thompson's High School Direct or something or other, where you actually earn your high school diploma. You take the courses, you take the electives, the whole 9 yards. And I got my diploma, my high school diploma. And that helped me get into MA school a few years later. Age is only experience, honey. Throwing stuff away. No, but I need to go through my house and catch up on my housework, which would be another day, not today. So I do want to let y'all know and still urge everybody to go to Anne's YT. Rewatch it if you missed it. And if you have any questions, always ask. And it's fine. Whether I'm having a bad day or not, ask. It's okay. Don't think because I might sound angry or a little over emotional, don't feel bad about asking. I want you to ask. I would rather for you to ask than not ask and assume. I tell you, when Anne asked me about doing the show, I knew I could trust her with the information I gave her, the pictures I gave her, the everything. She showed some of them on the show. There's more. I've showed the recording, the one recording that I use, for the awareness part. I have that one, as well. I forgot I have an external hard drive and some of those pictures were on it. So I was able to, give what I needed to give to Anne and lay the baseline of what she did for me to have that show today. And I appreciate it a lot for her to do that. So make sure you show that page some love and support. On the YT. Because everybody knows, people on here had to get her account taken down, and that's pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's astounding how we all get blamed for something we didn't do. There was a lot of it I thought was gone. But it's almost like when everything transpired about the FOIA, how everything just goes boom, 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 boom. Because, okay, everybody knows I use a second phone on my Wi-Fi, right here. Got it charging. I forgot about this one. Okay, this one wouldn't hold a charge or wouldn't charge. It's the charging port's messed up. And I thought all the voice recordings was on this phone here, and that's what I deleted, not from this phone. So I didn't go through to listen to them and then delete them. I just deleted and thought I was releasing all that. That was the whole point of doing so. But one thing that I showed Anne that we didn't discuss, which I'll share with you now. Is some of these, my journals. So, it goes back to 2013. And they're full, even angry writing. Okay. Things that I felt, whether it be prayers, whether it be quotes from the Bible, even one of the first threats to me, I wrote it down. Well, this is not all of them. There's more. Down to the emergency protective order, And the date of the court was January of '09. Right there. I know it's backwards, but that was the court date for the emergency protective order. The incident happened on my birthday, December 28th of '08. And you can read there, assault on a family member. So for people to say, I got the proof. And everybody knows his name now, and it's written right there. Wherever it's at. Right there. My husband's name. So before people want to go off the deep end and give false information, what did I miss? What's the matter? What's the matter, Dark Veil? Thank you, Just a Girl. And you know, Just a Girl, I don't think I could come this far without you. Don't you ever forget that. I'm sorry, Dark Veil. Thank you. Hopefully it'll give courage to more people. The more courage and the more backbone we can grow, the better off it'll be.
For me.
And it won't be as hard. Okay, Dark Veil, thank you so much. And my son, great.
And it takes me when you want coffee.
I didn't think it was this late. I'm not used to afternoon lives. But that's okay. It was for a good reason. And maybe it'll help other people to speak up more.
Yeah, I know that.
So it might have been a shitty way of doing it. But just like Bless Mama and even Ann said, things happen for a reason, right? I'll have that conversation in a little bit. But if he's taking the next week off, a couple of days, he may not need to be able to. But I will do that here in a little bit. But maybe it will. I'm hoping Cookie Monster. In a way, it's kind of like instead of having the thought of it being devastating to put somebody into a space mentally, maybe it's to help encourage people to step up more, to change what people go through mentally. So instead of holding yourself back, that you spring forward and keep moving forward no matter how many times you need to stop. You know, we're going to fall down. Pick yourself up. Let's go. And yeah, it's easier said than done. Trust me. Believe me. I know. There's a lot of people that know it's not easy. But it's achievable. It's always achievable. But like my cousin told me, get over yourself. That was the best word she could have ever told me. Blunt, straightforward, to the point.
Ma,
That's the way it needs to be. Yes, honey.
when I first came out of my mom and Michael and all that situation, not in all those words, but in a roundabout way, that's almost like what you and Just a Girl and everybody that was helping me said.
Yeah, we just have to tweak it every now and again. You know, when we get a newfound freedom in life, you know, we need to tweak it down a little bit to make it our own, but also improve ourselves. I'm just a loudmouth person, and I will just say, and when I get mad, I'll say it. But when you're silenced for so long, those changes will have to come per individual. Okay? Nobody can make somebody else change to suit their narrative and what they feel you should be doing. Right, bless mama. So it's one of those things to where if you know, you might not like how I deliver something, but if what I deliver is for a purpose, that's what you base it on. I don't know how many people have told me, so I don't like how you say things and how you cuss and this and that, but. And it's that but you listen to. Not to change how you delivered it, but the reason behind of, okay, I don't like this, but this happened. That before and what you don't like in another person has to come for that person. Because they need to make the changes, or I need to make the changes that I feel is necessary for me. Whether it be my delivery, whether it be how much I cuss or how many cuss words I say. That's for me. Don't judge basically on somebody that says shit a lot, you know. Or gets mad and displays it. Anger. That's true feelings. Anger. Don't tame it down. People need to see anger and why the anger is there. You need to see it and understand it and stop picking out the wording in which delivered it. That's where we need to be. So, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to eat my dinner. Take a couple hours to breathe. I still got that feeling inside. So I'm going to tame that all down. And refocus and gather myself. I love you guys too. So much. You just don't know how much I appreciate all this support. And I know there's other people y'all support the same way, which is beautiful. And that's the way it should be. You can say it, James.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
You're fine, honey. Go ahead.
Hey, at least I didn't just jump.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to hunt your ass down. You keep doing that. Just saying. Anyway, y'all go enjoy your meal, your dinner, or whatever you're going to be doing. And I'll probably see y'all later on this evening. And God, thank you, Anne, for everything you did. Make sure to show her page some love, okay? And if you do have questions, just let me know later and I'll answer everybody. So I'll see y'all a little bit. Love you, James.
Love ya.
I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.